Hey, what up, y'all? I got a clip here um, for us from Law and Crime. This here, unfortunately, is about a dog attack. Um, Trigger warning, trigger warning. Let's go.
Anything illegal on you? I have some weed. Some weed? Okay.
That's Jordan McGuire being taken into custody after police say his pit bull killed his beautiful little girl.
Is it for the animal cruelty or is it for the other one? Talk about it here. Okay.
I go through this horrific case and why the DA says Lachlan's mom also faces a murder charge. I'm Anjanette Levy, and this is Crime Fix. If you think the cases that I cover here on Crime Fix are scary, wait until you hear what's happening with your personal data online. Your name, your phone number, even your address, it's all floating around the internet for data brokers to sell or scammers to steal. Our sponsor, Cogni, lets you take back control. They find which data brokers have your info and demand they remove it. When I signed up, they actually found more than 50 brokers with my data, and within days, it started disappearing. Setup takes just minutes. Create an account authorizing Cogni to act for you, and they do the rest. And with their new Unlimited Plans custom removals feature, you can submit custom links where your data shows up, and a team of privacy experts will remove it for you. So if you care about your online safety, and you really should, take your data back with Cogni. Use code CRIMEFIX for 60% off an annual plan. Lachlan McGuire was a beautiful 2-year-old little girl. She should be getting ready for Christmas, doing things like visiting Santa at the mall. But Lachlan, she will never get to do anything like that because she was killed last month. Police say by the family's dog. This case is absolutely horrific. And sadly, it's not unlike other cases I've told you about here on Crime Fix in the past. I wish cases like this didn't happen. This case takes us to the northeast section of Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City police were called to a home on 26th Street, and what the officers found was startling, to say the very least. An officer wrote in a report, on 11/18/2025, I responded to in reference to Darcy Lambert calling into dispatch stating that her 2-year-old daughter, victim 1, Lachlan McGuire, was
2-year-old.
Upon arrival, other officers had entered the residence along with medical and located victim 1 deceased on her bedroom floor. Both Darcy Lambert and Jordan McGuire were placed into patrol cars. Spring Lake supervisors were notified and arrived on scene a short time later. Victim 1 was later transported to the medical examiner's office. No, it's highly unusual for a 2-year-old to just die, and that's not what happened here, according to police. Not at all. On scene and were met by defendant Darcy Lambert. Defendant Lambert is the biological mother of the victim. Defendant Lambert told the officer, "My daughter got ate by the pit." The officer approached the front door and made contact with defendant Jordan McGuire. It was later learned that defendant McGuire is the biological father of the victim. Defendant McGuire instructed the officer to shoot the dog. There is no way that these officers were prepared for what they said they found inside that house. No way. And I want to warn you, what they wrote in this document is incredibly disturbing. The officer wrote, defendant McGuire stated, "My daughter." The officer walked into the hallway, turned, and observed a 2-year-old female identified as victim LM. The victim had obvious signs of death. The victim was missing pieces of her face and neck. Both of the victim's ears were severed from her skull and were scattered in the bedroom. The victim's hair was wrapped around her fingers, which appeared to be consistent with the struggle. The victim's right side of her face had been removed from her ear to her cheek. The left side of her face had been torn off from her ear to below her cheek line. There were clear puncture wounds to the back of the victim's neck that appeared consistent with dog bites. There was what appeared to be blood on the walls, carpet, and the
Trigger
mattress.
warning, trigger warning.
The victim was pronounced deceased on scene by medical personnel. The Oklahoma County Animal Welfare Department removed 4 dogs from the home where Lambert and McGuire were living, and 3 of them appeared to be malnourished. And get this, police discovered that one of the dogs, a black pit bull named Ella, was so thin that her hip bones were showing through her skin, and she had blood on her paws and snout. Detectives took Darcy Lambert and Jordan McGuire down to the police station and both agreed to talk to them. The detective wrote in the affidavit, Defendant Lambert and Defendant McGuire were read the Miranda warning and both voluntarily agreed to speak to investigators without the attorney present. After being read his rights, Defendant McGuire stated, I just have a feeling, my gut is telling me I'm going to jail. Defendant Lambert stated
I
she
would
was
think
at work
so.
until approximately 22:30 or 10:30 that night. When she arrived at the residence, she let out one of the dogs. Defendant Lambert heard something like heavy slash
please.
labor breathing coming from the victim's room. She did not go to check on her. While in her bedroom, she heard some bouncing noises coming from the victim's room. She later went into the room and found the victim. So Mom, Darcy Lambert, according to detectives, heard heavy breathing noises coming from her daughter's bedroom and didn't check on her until she heard the bouncing noises. The interview of Lachlan's dad, Jordan McGuire, unfolded with him detailing to police how he put Ella the pit bull in the room with Lachlan. The detective wrote, Defendant McGuire stated he put the victim to bed at approximately 19:30 hours. The victim was put to bed by placing her in her room with Ella. The door to the room had toddler locks on each side of the door, which would have prevented the victim from leaving the room. Defendant McGuire stated he put her in the room with an old phone to watch until she fell asleep. The victim was given the phone because she would cry. The phone stopped her crying. Defendant McGuire took some medication and fell asleep. He woke up at approximately 20:45 hours. He checked on the victim and she was sleeping on the mattress with Ella at the end of the mattress. Defendant McGuire was woken up by Defendant Lambert when she found the victim. So that sounds like everything was fine, but it wasn't. Jordan McGuire, according to detectives, talked about how violent Ella could be. The black pit bull, Ella, was kept inside of the room with the victim. Ella was not in a cage. Ella was kept in the room with the victim because she would fight.
That right there is negligence in every way, form possible. Ain't no way I would keep a pit bull around children. No.
The other dogs in the residence. Defendant McGuire stated Ella would fight the brown pit bull by always going in for the kill. When asked about this, he explained the black pit bull would attempt to attack the brown pit bull's neck. So Lachlan's dad put a dog known to go in for the kill alone in a bedroom with his young daughter.
Yeah, lock him up. Lock him up and throw away the damn key.
Just wait for this card.
Lock him up.
The affidavit continues. On 11/6/2025, the victim was attacked by the same black pit bull, Ella, and taken to OU Children's Hospital. The victim's left ear had been partially severed. The victim's...
Wait a minute. You tell me this is not the first time that this little girl has been attacked by this dog, and y'all still kept this dog around? What the hell's wrong with you people? See, this is why I say some people don't need kids. Some of y'all don't need kids or animals. And this is why.
Right ear had sustained puncture wounds. Defendant Lambert admitted in her interview she believed this initial attack had come from the pit bull Ella. She admitted the victim required plastic surgery to correct these injuries. Oklahoma's Department of Human Services was contacted and an investigation was initiated. Oklahoma's Department of Human Services did not remove the victim from the residence. The opinion of the child protection team at OU Children's Hospital was the injuries were caused by a dog bite. Neither Oklahoma City PD nor Oklahoma County's Animal Welfare Department were notified of this incident. So days before this dog Ella killed Lachlan, she had attacked her and nearly ripped off the girl's left ear, and they still put the dog in the bedroom with her.
Why?
The parents were initially charged with second-degree murder.
Damn
The police
right.
wrote, Defendant McGuire and Defendant Lambert knowingly continued to confine this dog uncaged in the same room with the victim after the dog attack on 11/6/2025. Subsequently, the pit bull Ella violently attacked the victim, causing her to succumb to the newly sustained injuries. Defendant McGuire and Defendant Lambert knew Ella's susceptibility to violence toward the victim. Jordan McGuire was taken into custody 3 days after Lachlan was killed.
As he should have been.
I have some weed.
Some weed? Okay. All right, hey, let's step out of here.
Cigarette.
Okay. Where's the weed at? Was it in that bag?
Yes, sir. Maybe have a lighter in that pocket or a suggestion. There's nothing bad or illegal, like. Oh, thank you.
Hey, I'm going to switch out these handcuffs, okay?
I'm not really.
No, you're fine. Just so they can get theirs back.
Okay, he'll tell y'all that I haven't been resistant to y'all whatsoever. Is it for the animal cruelty or is it for the other one? Talk about it here. Okay. I don't know why. Can I leave that bag here? No, I can't take it with me. I'm not.
All right, I'm going to pull these bottom cuffs off. Just bend over just a little bit.
You put it in front so I can smoke real quick?
Hold on.
Darcy Lambert and Jordan McGuire, they now face first-degree murder charges in Lachlan's death. District Attorney Vicky Behena said in a statement, "This is an unspeakably tragic case. Lambert and McGuire's complete disregard for the health, safety, and welfare of their child and their failure to protect her despite knowing she was at risk led to her death."
Mm-hmm.
So I want to bring in somebody who knows all about prosecuting cases involving pit bulls who kill children. And it's unfortunate that he does know all about this. He is Mark Weaver. He's a prosecutor based in the state of Ohio. He also works sometimes as a judge. So Mark, the minute I learned about this case, I said, I have to call Mark Weaver because we just spent months and months and months talking about a very similar case in the state of Ohio that you prosecuted where a pit bull murdered a baby. So your thoughts upon reading this horrific affidavit?
Thanks for having me back on. What a tragic case. Every new fact I read was more troubling to me.
Yes.
In the case that I prosecuted a mother and a father who had recklessly allowed their infant boy, 6-month baby, to be around a dangerous pit bull. Of course, there were other pit bulls in the house, and that child was killed by the pit bull. That was very troubling. But this is far more troubling on several bases. Number one, there was a previous attack.
Exactly.
Every animal should have been out of that house after the previous attack on this child.
All them animals should have been
Potentially,
gone.
the child should have been removed, and the fact that didn't happen.
I'll be right back,
the
y'all.
Second offense, which is why
I'll be
this
right
is probably
back.
being charged as first-degree murder now.
Tap the screen,
because the parents
please.
had plenty of notice that this dog was dangerous.
There is so much wrong, according to the affidavit in this case. I mean, we had mom coming home from work, hearing bouncing and heavy breathing coming from her daughter's room, and she did nothing. She did not go to check on her daughter. Usually, you would think mom comes home from work, you'd open the door and poke your head in there just to check anyway, right? You know your husband or your significant other, the father of your child, is asleep. That's just kind of normal. You open the doors and you peek in there just to check. But even worse than that, you mentioned the previous attack. Days earlier, on November 6th, this is November 18th, November 6th, Ella had ripped Lachlan's ear off nearly, and she had to have it reattached with plastic surgery, and they still let the dog sleep in the room with her. It's unbelievable.
Well, it's worse, right? Everything you said is true, but they locked the child
Yes.
in the room, And their argument is to the police, well, if we had let the dog sleep somewhere else, he might have gotten in a fight with the other dogs. So we're going to put this aggressive, dangerous dog in with our 2-year-old child, who the dog has already bitten. And we're not going to give the child an ability to escape the room because we're going to put a lock on the inside of the door. This is heinous. This is heinous.
It's absolutely heinous. And how about, like, when your dog nearly rips off your child's ear? Maybe that's the point where you're like, God, maybe we need to give up this dog. And Jordan McGuire, according to the detectives, is talking about how Ella, this dog that's starving for whatever reason, it's not being given food, is going in for the kill on the other dog. So you've got a dog that's aggressive, and you're putting it in a bedroom with a 2-year-old. And then we've got the other issue, like a huge red flag to me is the fact that you're even giving a 2-year-old a phone to help the 2-year-old go to sleep. Phones don't help people go to sleep. The blue light, the light, it keeps people awake. It messes with their, melatonin, the whole mess. I could go into a whole thing about that. How about reading your child a book? I mean, there are so many red flags here. That's just like bad parenting.
Yeah, this is really the worst of the worst parenting, short of the parents abusing the child themselves, which is probably the absolute worst. The father thinks it's okay to give a 2-year-old a phone. That's just bad parenting. That's just weak parenting. That's not a crime. And, most of us who've done the research know you shouldn't have toddlers exposed to devices. That's fine. But the notion of, because the father wants to go take something he calls medication, be interested to find out what that is.
Right.
He then locks the child in the room with the dog and a phone. As a babysitter, as a way to get to sleep, you made a good point that that's not going to work. So far, nothing potentially wrong, illegal with a criminal law, other than probably child endangering with the dog in there. But then he takes enough of his medication that he's out and will be unable to hear and listen for any problem with this child. So he has created the dangerous circumstance, taken the previously injured child who was certainly traumatized. We can't imagine what it would have liked for that child to have had her head and her ear bitten by this dog, and locked her in the room with the dog that attacked her. All of these things suggest really horrible parenting and now criminal actions, and good on the local prosecutor for now bringing first-degree murder charges against both of these parents.
So, Mark, the DA is furious, obviously, in this case, sees that this was a grave, grave injustice, that nobody was protecting little Lachlan, in her view. This was originally charged as second-degree murder. Now it's been bumped up to first-degree murder. So what do you think changed? Do you think the cops just were holding them on the second-degree murder, and then the DA reviews the charges in the case and is like, no. Like, this was red flag city. And so they're pursuing this as first-degree murder?
It's pretty common for police to file what we call a holder charge, something we know can be used to detain defendants, and then allow the prosecutor, in this case the district attorney, to make a final charging decision. I think the eventual indictment, the one that will go to trial, will feature lesser included charges. You'll have the first degree murder charges. You may have a second degree murder. You have child endangering. The DA will want to give the jury as many options as possible to make sure these two parents go to prison for a very long time. If you overcharge and don't give the jury any other options, there might be a few people unwilling to think that this was an intentional act, and you could get a hung jury.
One thing that's kind of astonishing to me, too, is it almost seems as if the parents, at least Jordan, knew from his statements that what happened was really, really, really wrong. He says, according to the detectives, I have a feeling I'm going to jail. When they're interviewing him, like, I'm going to jail. He knows that what has happened is very bad and that it's criminal.
Yeah, these sound like low-functioning people, which is its own tragedy, I suppose, because as we speak, there are millions of children being raised by low-functioning people. That doesn't make them bad people, and most, if you know, not the big majority, can parent well. But it puts a lot of children at risk for people who don't understand basic cause and effect.
Right.
And so that's the best argument a defense lawyer could make, is that, well, my client here is just not the swiftest parent, and so didn't really think through that an emaciated pit bull that had previously attacked my child shouldn't be locked in a room with that child and then not checked on because the father's asleep with his medication and the mother's out working but doesn't check in on her daughter. That's the best argument I think they can come up with, is that somehow these are low-functioning parents.
There appear to also be some failures that the police, it's almost like they wanted this information out there, that the Department of Human Services was aware of what happened. They were notified when Lachlan was taken to the hospital in early November when her ear was nearly ripped off and she had to have it repaired by plastic surgery. But nobody notified the Animal Welfare Department. Nobody notified the police department that a child's ear was nearly ripped off by a dog. And so it sounds like the police are essentially saying in their affidavit, you know, read between the lines here, had we known, had the animal welfare people known that this happened, maybe the dogs wouldn't have been there, and maybe the cops would have ordered these dogs removed. Maybe the parents would have been cited for something. I don't know. This could have been prevented.
Yeah, doctors are mandatory reporters for child sex abuse. I don't know the law in Oklahoma about whether they're mandatory reporters for just physical abuse, but I'd like to think that a prudent doctor in an ER or even a plastic surgeon, the first question they ask is, what happened to the ear? They need to know that to help treat. And so if the answer is our dog bit it, I think a prudent doctor has a raised eyebrow and thinks, perhaps I should alert the child welfare authorities to make sure that this child is being protected. So we don't know what happened. It's worth finding out. And if there's liability there, either through the professional licensure of these professionals or through some civil suit by some other family member who wants to bring a civil action on behalf of this sadly killed child, I think there's probably more to come in this case, even above and beyond these two criminal cases.
Yeah, there were failures across the board here, it appears, on several levels. First, with the parenting, with the
DSS
hospital, when her ear was repaired, the fact that police and the animal welfare people were not notified. It seems to me that somebody should have notified the animal welfare people.
Yeah, or at least child services.
The dog nearly ripped off a child's ear. That's not a dog bite. That's
a dog attack.
So we'll keep an eye on this to see what happens. That poor little girl, Mark Weaver. Thank you so
poor
much.
Poor child.
Thank you. Very sad case.
Darcy Lambert and Jordan McGuire remain in the Oklahoma County Jail. Each are being held on a $1 million bond. That's it.
As they should
Crime
be.
Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me.
I mean, tell you the truth, that she never got bail. In all honesty, considering the fact that this child, before she got attacked in this instance, almost lost an ear like weeks earlier. Sad, man. I know that this is a sad story.